Hi, I'm Carlin Holbrook. I'm a John Maxwell Team certified coach, teacher, trainer, speaker, published author, and influencer with more than 25 years of global leadership experience. If there's one thing I've seen firsthand time and time again, it's that the best leaders inspire others to follow their purpose and their passions, while the influence of a bad leader can literally tear down people's potential. Join me for a few sips of leadership tips that will help you become a better leader by first conquering the hardest person to lead, you. I had the wonderful opportunity to speak at a leadership conference this past week in Texas for the Center for American and International Law about leadership, and shared just a lot my own leadership journey. And one of the key things, and it was amazing, the audience was incredible. People from 24 countries, all over the world, truly, and just listened and talked to them, got to know people, and learned a lot from them. And one of the other speakers who I'm excited I'm going to have as a guest on my podcast. I'm teasing hopefully the next episode, but I don't want to get your hopes too up, so we got to figure out calendars and all that fun stuff first. But something he said I just loved. He's a behaviorist and a leadership executive coach, and it's that we both said, what happened to the world where we could disagree with each other and we could sit at a table and have conversations and then still go have like a beer afterwards, and not take it so personally, and truly respect the fact that everybody has a voice. And we were talking too about, and I was like, yes, thank you. And I know that makes me sound all old, but I feel like the last few years, and I know I've talked about this before, but people are leading with their emotions as opposed to objective, rational, logical reasoning and thinking. And I think we've completely lost those arts. And what I find so ironic and confusing, truly confusing, is when you look at social media especially, is people are so all about championing self-expression and individuality and this is me and da-da-da, all that stuff, right? And it's like, good for you. However, I find it ironic that it's the same people who also, I feel like so many people are just following the trends of what everybody else is doing. And it's like, if you stop and pause for a minute, and I have very diverse feeds on social, so I like to see a little bit of everything and everybody, because it helps me understand people and I learn. If you have a one-sided feed of just people who are like you have a problem. You need to mix that up and change that, because that's literally, I think, the problem with the world today. But then what's funny, so it's like, I'm me, I'm who I am. But then it's like, okay, you have piercings, the same piercings that everybody else has on their face. You have tattoos. Well, pretty much 99% of the population has tattoos. Look at me, I'm an individual. All right, you're following clothing trends. And then let me take this a step further. You're following social media trends. You're doing TikTok trends. You're doing IG trends, whatever the trends are, and filters and this and that. And it's like, but I'm an individual. It's like, I don't know. It's like the Princess Bride movie. I don't think that word means what you think it means. And again, I'm not trying to be like, I'm not up here dogging people for like doing TikTok trends or social trends or whatever. Like, it's fun. It's fine. I just find it ironic that when we talk about self-expression and individuality, that I feel like a lot of people are just doing what literally everybody else is doing. So are you really an individual? Are you really guys are painting their nails a lot more these days, or, wearing high heels, which are traditionally something a woman wears, although not only really in the 20th and 21st century. Actually, back in the day, men wore tights, men wore heels, men wore a lot of different clothing. I feel like we get really hung up on the clothing thing being a gender thing, and I was like, no, I don't think it really is, but whatever. I digress. Going back to my point, though, I just find it interesting that I wish people could take a step back and maybe evaluate themselves a little bit to be like, all right, me saying that I'm such an original and you have to accept me when you look like probably 50% of the people out there and you're acting like 50% of the people out there. Maybe just pause on that one and think about that a minute. And I'm not saying everybody has a tattoo, but they're different tattoos, and the tattoos tell a story for that person. All right, I get it. But I mean, really, I feel like almost everybody under the age of 25 has, the same piercings on their face and in their nose and such. And it's like, oh, I'm so original. Well, you're really not. Everybody else is doing that too. Again, I'm not saying like you wanna go do that and you wanna go buy the pants that are on in a store that everybody else is buying too, or you wanna get the car that, yes, they make more than one of those cars. Like, that's fine. Just accept the fact that there are things about humanity and society and societal norms that people buy into. Stop using it as a platform to say, I'm so original. And I'm going to pause on that because to me, that's the external surface. That's the outer surface that everybody sees, right? Why are we not more focused on who you are internally? Your heart, your mind, your soul. We're not spending enough time on that. And I think this is part of the problem why people there's such a mental health crisis in our world today. Why people get so emotional and worked up about things and then like cut people off because they're like, you disagreed with me, I'm out. It's like, well, wait, hold on. Like internally, let's work on emotional intelligence. Let's work on, the ability to understand and listen to other people. Let's apply some logic and rational thinking to things. And so stop like also reading one side of things. Stop reading or listening to one side of any argument or any topic or anything out there. We've gotten so close-minded. I mean, truly, everybody. Yes, I said everybody. I know somebody listening is like, no, it's them. It's everybody. So what happened to that world where we had that? And what's so fascinating to me, here's the irony and why I'm so confused. We have more access to information now than we ever have at any moment in history ever. But yet, I feel like we're dumber than we ever have been. Yeah, I said it. So why? Why is that? Is it because we get comfortable now that we are so visible, we are so out there and everyone can see us, that we're like, well, then we got to pick a side, or we got to create this image of ourselves. We got to put ourselves out there, but not too much out there because people will think this or think that. So we got to pick sides because this is my public persona. This is my brand. I'm an influencer, I'm not an influencer, whatever. And then here's the other sad thing is like, here's a trend I love, Instagram reality versus reality, right? We are all judging everybody else based on Instagram reality. We are all consuming information and making decisions about our lives based on social reality, Instagram reality, TikTok reality, Facebook reality. That's not reality. Not even a little bit. I mean, and I love social media, you all. You know that. I'm all over it. I love it because it does give you a platform. It does give you, like, you can put out, your voice in the world. And you can be who you want to be and who you are. But when those are in conflict of who you are versus who you're putting out there, and you start creating an almost fake persona, you start to get lost in that, and you start to get lost in the trend of everybody else, then you become a brick. And bricks are just made with a mold. Make a brick, make a brick, make a brick. I want to be a stone. Every stone is different. Every stone, it starts rough, but when it goes through the water and sand and different things, can become smooth, like a lake stone, right? I want to be a stone. I want to grow. I want to learn. I want to share. I want to be authentic. But more importantly, like when I say I'm an individual and I'm going to be who I am, I'm going to mean it and not just create something that makes me feel like, oh, I'm part of the pack out there on social. I mean, again, in a world where we say we love self-expression, individuality, people are also the first to jump on someone who doesn't align with their way of thinking. So you can't say I'm all about individuality and self-expression and be you do you, and be authentic, and it's all good. And then someone else is like, oh, I don't like that. This is me, and this is me, and I'm different. How dare you? And then they jump all over each other. Do you not see the irony? Do you not see the irony? Leaders, we got to rise above this. We've got to help people, like, rise above this. All right, first sip. And I am going to take a sip of coffee. Own who you are. Own who you are. And it's way more than what you do. It's way more than what labels or roles that you play in life. And if you don't know who you are, go deep. Do the deep work. It's not comfortable. It might take therapy. It might take self-reflection. It might take hiring a coach. There's a lot of things, but if you want to be a leader in any sense of the word, in any field, in any way in life, and have those leadership behaviors, you gotta own who you are. You've got to figure out who you are. Who you are is your unique strengths, your values, what you've gone through in life. Also, what are your dreams, your goals, your aspirations? Like, what makes your heart race in a good way? What is your life vision, mission? What is your purpose? It's heart mapping, right? Again, I always throw it out there. Very few take me up on it. If you want help heart mapping, let me know. First one's free. That sounded like drug dealery. Let's get away from that. But you know what I mean. I want to help people really, truly hone in on that and who you are. So important. And again, different from the labels. And it's not the person painted on social media. It's okay to share your highlights reel on social media, right? It's okay to share aspects of it. But that's not who you are. That's one channel of an outlet of something that you're putting out there in the world. So get to know who you are and own it in every sense of the word and be authentic in who you are in every aspect of your life. All right, sip 2. Freedom of expression and individuality. And truly what inclusion means is that everybody gets a voice. Don't you love freedom? I mean, in the U.S., we are so blessed to be as free as we are. It boggles my mind that so many people in this country think we are just the worst. And oh my God, other places in the world. Half these people who say this crap hasn't even been in other places of the world. Why don't you go spend some time in a communist country? Why don't you go spend some time in a place like the Middle East where you can be put to death if you're gay or if you're a Christian or, and Christians are persecuted all over the world. Like, you don't know freedom. Whiny little U.S. people. Do we have problems? Of course. Every country does. But my goodness, am I so grateful for the value of freedom in this country and stand for it. Stand for freedom. And that does mean not squelching other people's voices who disagree with you. Like, calm down. They always existed. You're just seeing them more because social media exists. But I promise you, they always existed. And it's okay. It's going to be okay. Don't get emotional about it. All right, final thing. Leaders. Don't follow the trends. Be the trend. Set the trend. Don't be afraid. Have the courage to be out there. And I'm not talking about like, oh my gosh, you told me not to do a Snapchat filter or a TikTok train or the ALS challenge. No, I'm not saying that. Please, you should know me better than that. I'm saying leaders don't just follow the trends and go with the flow. Transformational leaders go against the flow. They go above the flow. They help their people swim in the opposite direction because that means standing out from the crowd. That means leading as opposed to being a follower. You want to be the shepherd, you want to be the sheep. Leaders need to create psychologically safe spaces for the people around us so they do have a voice, so they can share. And then we in turn need to take deep breaths and speak truth and speak love and speak life into a lot of darkness and chaos in this world. Don't add fuel to the fire. Don't go with the flow and the trends. Rise above. Stand out. And applaud when others do too. Thank you for having a cup of coffee with me. For more sips and tips, connect with me on social and follow Leader Sips on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Pinterest. And don't forget to visit my website, carlinholbrook.com. Until next time, keep on brewing.